Boeing says it's operating in what it considers the most complex environment it's seen since World War II, from record demand for commercial jets and defense platforms to strains in the supply chain and geopolitical headwinds. CNA's Roland Lim caught up with the president of Boeing Global, who gave his reasons for why he is still bullish.
China's government has reportedly ordered its domestic airlines to stop accepting deliveries of Boeing jets and to halt purchases of parts from the
Boeing once built aircraft for presidents. Today, it's being punished for trying to build planes people can actually afford. After a century of waving the American flag, Boeing quietly shifted a slice of production to Mexico, just enough to navigate a bruising global supply chain crisis. Washington didn't respond with a handshake. Instead, it responded with a threat, a 200% tariff and a presidential ultimatum. President Trump picked up the phone and gave Boeing CEO Kelly Ortberg a clear message. Build everything in America or pay the price.
No negotiation. No nuance.
Just an all-or-nothing edict. When Boeing refused to cave, China retaliated, canceling billions in orders, slapping its own tariffs of up to 125%, and sending U.S. manufacturing towns into chaos. This wasn't just a trade dispute. It was a warning shot. If even Boeing can't survive the politicization of globalization, what chance does the rest of American industry have? From symbol of pride to casualty of policy. Caught between a tariff wall and geopolitical tensions, Boeing had to act. With parts shortages mounting and demand rising across Asia and Latin America, the company proposed a modest solution. Shift limited production to Mexico to cut costs and stay agile. But instead of applause, it received a 200% tariff threat and a harsh ultimatum from the White House. The fallout came fast. China halted Boeing deliveries, imposed retaliatory tariffs, and froze pending aircraft orders mid-air. Literally. Planes en route to Chinese carriers were rerouted back to Seattle. One jet, destined for Jean Airlines, made a ghostly round trip across the Pacific. Suppliers in Kansas and Washington ground to a halt. Staff hours were slashed. Inventory piled up. In just a few phone calls and a handful of tweets, Boeing's transformation from national icon to geopolitical scapegoat was complete. And the cost wasn't just corporate, it was personal. Thousands of workers who built those planes paid the price on both ends of a trade war they never signed up for. A global pivot in the age of performance patriotism. Ortberg didn't fold. He went public, defending Boeing's strategy as essential for global competitiveness and long-term survival. We aren't political pawns, he said. We build planes people can fly and airlines can afford. Bloomberg noted Boeing's intention to increase 737 MAX output to 38 jets per month by mid-2025, targeting 42 by year's end. The market took notice. Honeywell raised its revenue forecast, citing Boeing's ramp-up as a key driver. But the FAA, still reeling from safety incidents like the Alaska Airlines door blowout, warned production wouldn't expand beyond 38 monthly until quality dramatically improved. Meanwhile, China tightened the screws, halting aircraft orders and escalating tariffs. Factories from Everett to Wichita sat on grounded jets and unpaid bills, all sparked by a single ultimatum that turned policy into punishment. But instead of backing down, Boeing pivoted hard. Ortberg began redirecting deliveries to markets like Southeast Asia, India, and Latin America, where airlines were expanding fleets and far less interested in Washington's political theater. Boeing's own 2025 commercial market outlook forecasts demand for 43,600 new aircraft over the next 2 decades, driven not by patriotism, but by population growth, economic expansion, and logistical necessity. The numbers tell a story, but so does the silence. As of June 2025, Boeing had delivered 280 aircraft, trailing Airbus's 306, but closing the gap. Boeing's June output alone hit 45 jets, a clear sign of momentum. Plans are in place to push 737 MAX production to 47 per month by 2025 and resume full-rate 787 production by 2026. This strategic shift didn't just move jets. It moved minds. CEOs at Apple, Tesla, and Ford began quietly asking, Is it time to look abroad if domestic loyalty means political backlash? Still, the path ahead is treacherous. Boeing's operating margins remain volatile. Q1 2025 saw 130 deliveries, $19.5 billion in revenue, up 18%. But free cash flow was still negative $2.3 billion. The commercial division posted a $537 million operating loss despite a 75% revenue jump. And then there's the looming shadow of competition. Airbus dominates narrow-body backlogs with machines like the A321XLR. Ryanair, a critical Boeing customer, hinted it might delay or cancel up to $30 billion in orders if tariffs continue to disrupt pricing. Boeing's sustainability gamble. On the green front, Boeing's future is still cloudy. Its Eco-Demonstrator X-66 and Sustainable Aviation Fuel, SAF, initiatives are promising on paper, but scale remains elusive. In 2024, SAF made up only 0.3% of global jet fuel use. The IEA estimates 9 to 12 million tons will be needed annually by 2030 to stay on track. Yet that's still 30% short of Paris Agreement targets. Boeing pitches SAF as the centerpiece of its sustainability plan. But critics ask, can a company that triggered a tariff war over production decisions be trusted to lead the clean aviation revolution? It's a fair question. After 2 fatal 737 MAX crashes, a 2025 in-flight door malfunction, and ongoing regulatory scrutiny, Boeing's reputation is on thin ice. Trust isn't rebuilt in boardrooms, it's earned in the hangar. The high cost of weaponized patriotism. Behind the headlines and quarterly reports lies a deeper question. What is patriotism really costing American industry? Global travel demand is expected to hit 108% of pre-pandemic levels in 2025 and grow 3.6% annually through 2044. Meeting that demand requires 43,600 new aircraft, not symbolic slogans. And yet, American airlines are left navigating tariff-driven pricing, grounded deliveries, and unstable policy winds. The International Air Transport Association estimates the aviation sector will need $4.7 trillion to reach net zero by 2050. Airlines would rather invest in clean technology than fight political fires. So, what's the real cost of performance patriotism? Contracts delayed, prices rising, public trust collapsing, a new flight path forward. Despite the chaos, Boeing delivered 130 aircraft, $19.5 billion in revenue, 18% year-over-year growth, a slimmed-down quarterly loss of just $31 million. These numbers reflect a company learning to survive, not yet thrive, in a hostile environment. But Boeing's real test begins now. Restoring credibility, scaling sustainable tech, and navigating global competition without becoming a casualty of domestic politics. Because in 2025, patriotism can't come at the cost of production or the people who depend on it. If Boeing must go global to survive, what hope is there for the communities still building America's industrial backbone? This isn't just about planes. It's about principles, about whether patriotism should empower innovation or punish it. Because when slogans stall and jets don't fly, all that's left is turbulence.